Hello world, I was seeing Cortez here coming to you live from the web, the beautiful web. It's currently around 11 p.m. and I want to do a nightly series where I articulate everything I learned throughout the day. And the goal of this really has two parts. First is I articulate everything I learned throughout the day. That way I enunciate the core components. I can logically tie the pieces out loud. But most importantly is for this to be an opportunity for you to learn. Web3 is such a grand space. So kind of getting a glimpse of seeing a learner in the space real time and seeing how diverse and broad the areas could be insightful. And the goal for this is really to just showcase that, learning has no boundaries. You don't know what you're going to learn. You just kind of go in and make the best of the information available to you. You kind of navigate throughout the world like that. So I have sticky notes right here, just jotting down the key components I learned throughout the day. And I want to say it kind of like in a story format. That way it'll be relevant for you listening. And obviously too, the goal is to introduce dialogue off this, where you see this. And if you have specific areas where it might be something I have previous knowledge or prior knowledge, I should say, or I'm currently learning, it could be something that we converse and learn together, right? Because this is a new area and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of room for that. And if I state incorrect information, which I'll try to be very, very careful with, feel free to correct me as always. All right, so to begin, I spent my morning learning about uploading to interplanetary file systems. So what this essentially is, it's a decentralized way to store memory, where people from around the world act as a node. And whenever you call information, say it being an image, the closest node to you will be the server that delivers it to you. And they have this entire incentivizing system that is really, really interesting. If you have some technical experience or knowledge, there was a project called BitTorrent. I think it's been like over a decade or two, where this is kind of like the first area where music was free, pirated music, where people would essentially be able to download music for free. And the way that the process BitTorrent ran was that it was decentralized. BitTorrent wasn't like a central server. It had people from around the world acting as computers, where if I requested a song, the computers from around the world would give it to me. It wasn't BitTorrent as an entity that would give it to me. So this is very disruptive in terms of storage. It's decentralized. It's not like you're relying on AWS or GCP, where they're traditional cloud infrastructures, and you can get this data for you. So I was learning how to upload data to that from a smart contract, specifically in the depths of NFTs, right? When an NFT is created, the smart contract doesn't store the image or the bigger metadata components onto the contract, because that's very expensive. What ends up happening is they hash it to, I think the other one's called a Weir or IPFS, and they hash it out to IPFS, and IPFS is the hosting of the data. That way it's not onto the chain, which prevents really high gas fees. So I was learning about that in the morning. And then I jumped into Wearable. Wearable is a marketplace for NFTs. They are a DAO. They operate very, very in an interesting format. Something that I learned about was their governance process. So there's something called Wearable.org, which is more of a back end process where you can join the community, you can join the meetings, you can vote. And it was such an interesting process because I use Wearable. I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and being able to see the operations behind the scenes and it's being open like this was super exciting. And also about Rari, their coin, learning about tokenization, and then how a company can start a token, an asset, and then convert it into utility and give it value. So that was super cool. And I got firsthand exposure of like a really, I would say, important DAO that I personally enjoy. And I just went through the depths and surfaced that area. Then I was doing some technical research on the blockchain, and I saw Ether, SEAR.ch, which is more like a community in a forum. Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, usually writes some articles there. The article I was reading there, I think, was about how tokenization voting is outdated. And some of these ideas like fly over me. This is one of them on how he literally put some really advanced math in the formula on how voting and utilization of the vote goes forward. And okay, like I need to take a step back to get to this point. But it was really cool that I'm really seeing some advanced areas in the area. And also learned about governance. There's like a software or an app called called Snapshot, which allows people to do proposals. So let's say that under Learnio, we want to launch NFTs, and we want to decide, do we do one-of-ones or do we do a project where 10 people can buy one? And someone can do a proposal, say, I think one-of-one is the best for this reason. I can set up the smart contract if they want to, and people can vote. Other people who have a token in Learnio can give their cast and essentially utilize that. So that was super cool as well. I went through a company that did blockchain services. So like an agency where you hire them and they build blockchain infrastructure for you. I thought that was super cool that companies are out there at this space. And one of the services they also had was a NFT marketplace. Like they will do a marketplace for you. And I found them through the Wearable DAO because they did a proposal on Snapshot. The founder of this blockchain service company said that I think they want to prohibit certain wallet IDs to purchase NFTs. And the proposal was well articulated. They said, we'll build a smart contract and they get paid too. And people voted and they got approved. So this company will now be building a smart contract. They're getting paid for it and they're improving Wearable. So that was full circle of how things work. Then I went into Solidity. I wanted to learn more about syntax and actual programming. My goal is to become a developer here, really understand to the core areas, but obviously starting off at the dApp level. So I learned some syntax, some functions, specifically in transaction error and errors, knowing when to require certain parameters and how to essentially make the contract stop and so on. So the next area too was I was jumping around smart contracts in detail. I'm reading a really good book right now called Mastering Ethereum. Sorry, you can't see that, but it says Mastering Ethereum. And there's a line in there that really stuck out with me. I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. And basically, it's just saying that smart contracts are functions for money. The way Ethereum is built, or any blockchain, is that the smart contract is really just moving money, because to use a smart contract, you need Ether. You need the currency to send data and to process the data. So that you view the format of just being smart contracts as of utilizing money, it kind of gives a first principle viewpoint of understanding what's going on here. So whenever you write code, say, okay, I'm writing code here that's going to use Ether. I'm going to be expected to pay gas. I have to be aware of what variables I want to include, what data I want to send to the chain, and just getting like a vaster and more broad understanding of the blockchain development itself. And then I also heard something very interesting, that blockchain means different things for different people. If you ask a developer, blockchain would probably be more revolving around the protocols, like the consensus mechanism, the hashing, the encryption process. If you ask someone in finance, blockchain is more about the financial ledger with a trustless process where strangers around the world can have a peer-to-peer interaction process and money can move. And then if you ask technologists, they say it's the future of infrastructure for future apps, organizations, and DAOs. So having that understanding that blockchain is going to be relevant to different people for different reasons. So, using psychometrics and psychologies, whenever someone asks you something, what is blockchain? Get a feel of what area would be more relevant to them, and then deliver the information in a manner that they're going to be more receptive towards. And then lastly, I was learning about testnets, really learning about Node.js allows for either local environments and also how to use a software like Infura to essentially leverage an Ethereum node. And this allows you to test your smart contracts and get some feedback without worrying to have to send it to the mainnet and actually send data to the blockchain, hence costing you real money. So this is the overview of the day. I don't know how long I've been speaking for, but yeah, this is the core components. As you can see, definitely more on the technical side of smart contracts, a little bit about the DAO governance, other platforms that are existing out there. But I know my priority in navigation areas I want to focus on. And I think this is going to be insightful for the progression of Learnio, because we do have some really, really exciting projects in mind and can't wait to get them off the ground. However, we have to go through the learning curve, and I think it's relevant to just document it and upload it because we're all learning here, right? This is the objective of this server. So yeah, we're just showcase we're in this together, where we're all learning as we go. So let's foster the community, let's build, let's learn together, and who knows where the future is going to take us. So that's the exciting part, is that everything is so novel. There isn't proven systems in this game yet. So we're going to be the ones creating those new systems that people will reference in the near future. All right. So that being said, I will see you here. Great pleasure. Thank you for your interest